is the Louvre, a place that holds some of the world's greatest works of art. For Anastasia, directors Don Bluth and Gary Goldman assembled the most talented artists from around the world. And it all took place at the 20th Century Fox Animation Studio in Phoenix, Arizona.
The process is you do the voice and they animate to the voice.
Take one.
Our film has gone to the extent of every single scene that has a human character acting in it, we've shot live action reference for the animators.
Roll camera.
The people who are doing the live action work would watch my body language and hear my voice to try to sort of move in the way the character, the way I sort of move.
All men are babies.
What I try to do is take his acting
No.
and do a caricature of it. So when he's talking, it's like we'll get like the little head shakes and the little expression.
Now, how did you get in here?
My responsibilities basically are doing the in-between drawings. As I flip this, you'll see that Dimitri is not only raising his left hand, but he's also turning his head towards the audience. So my job would be to smoothen that movement out by adding an in-between. So what I've done is I've plotted the arcs of that hand, and I'll go in now and just real roughly sketch where I think the hand should go. But once I get the framework and basic construction done, I'll later go in and anchor it down with some details.
Frequently what will happen is we'll start off with doing a rough design. We'll do some small thumbnail sketches, and then that'll evolve. Then finally we'll come up with a design that we like, and then it's time to start laying it out.
I spent a week in St. Petersburg, and I shot about 3,500 stills and 10 reels of video.
We used the pictures he did to come up with this layout here. Basically, the layout is the staging for which the characters are going to act on.
They provide us a color sketch or thumbnail from Don's storyboards. We have Rasputin's hand and Bartok, and they slamming against what is an ice column made out of skulls. A background like this would probably take maybe a day. We have backgrounds in here that can take up to 2-3 weeks.
The computer is a pencil. It's a different kind of pencil. Instead of the artist with a pencil in his hand, it's the artist who is working on the keyboard.
I fought it for a while. I clung to my cells, and I kept wanting to see the paint and feel the paper.
We might be doing an entire three-dimensional environment or background in which you can actually move an imaginary camera and have this simulated background moving and changing in perspective.
Anybody home?
It's amazing what you can do to a scene we could never do before. We can take and animate maybe 12 characters and turn it into 900 characters. That would be something that would take months before.
It's the Princess Anastasia who will help us fly.
Before we had 600 colors, we now have the potential for 16 million colors on the computer.
Traditionally, everything had to be painted onto cell. That's very time consuming because you'd have to paint, let the paint dry, then wait to see if you like the way the color looks.
Whereas a good cell painter could paint maybe 10 cells in a day, we can do about 10 in an hour. I'll show you what we do. I like to paint off of what's called a reference image, and it's just a small box that shows one frame already painted, and I can basically click on the part that I want to fill and just drop in the color.
The animated film is very much like a jigsaw puzzle, which when it first arrives on your table is just bare sketch lines. But when you actually complete it at the end of 2 years, it ends up to be this oil painting.
The miracle of the whole thing is they're all drawings, and the magic of it is if we all do our job right, those drawings are going to tell a story and they're going to be real people.
It's incredible what they can do now.
I never knew how much work there was to one of these. It's pretty fascinating.
This is the Grand Opera House, world-renowned for its fine music. As one of the voices on the soundtrack, it was a privilege to be a part of the songs of Anastasia. Original songs written by Stephen Flaherty and Lynn Ahrens, a score by composer David Newman, and a hit soundtrack all helped to tell this truly magical story. Let's take a look now at the music of Anastasia.
Working in the world of animation, you basically can do whatever your imagination tells you to. Rasputin's lair, seeing these outlandish creatures, thousands and thousands of these evil minions from below. You can be as wild as you want to be.
Then we're going to do Black Marketeer Hubbub. So doing the voices has been really, really satisfying, particularly for me in making the speaking voice of Meg Ryan flow seamlessly into the singing voice of Liz Calloway. Once upon a December. The speaking voice of John Cusack flows seamlessly into the voice of Jonathan Dokuchitz.
Yes, princess, I found you at last. No more pretend you'll be gone. That's the end.
I think if I start to sing, I think, people will start getting up and hailing cabs. So I don't think, gratefully, I'll be doing very little singing.
I think the surprise of working with the actors was Kelsey Grammer. He has an incredibly resonant voice. He's a classically trained actor, a great singer. We wrote the most difficult piece of material, I think, in the film for that character, which is the song Learn to Do It.
If you can learn to do it, I can learn to do it.
Don't know how you knew it.
I simply knew.
It seemed to me that if I was going to be in this thing and someone was going to sing, I should sing it, because then it would be more likely to come out of my character.
I can learn to do it. You can learn to do
Pull
it.
yourself together, and you'll go through it. Tell yourself it's easy. You can learn to do it too.
There's a number that Bernadette Peters sings called Perry Holds the Key to Your Heart. So it's a little Charleston number from the 20s.
Perry holds the key to your heart, and old Perry plays a part.
You stroll to by two.
And what we call love.
That was fun because all the people were there. And you're singing in a mic and also trying to picture what the character might be doing at that moment.
And not even Freud knows the cure.
And reading the music and not knowing the song. But it was fun. There was all that energy is in it.
Right from the first reading, this melody came to me, which became one of the high points, I think, in the film, a song called Once Upon a December.
Someone holds me safe and warm. Horses prance through a silver storm. Figures dancing gracefully across my memory.
People sing when they're too emotional to talk anymore. So when a character is at his or her angriest or most passionate or saddest or loneliest or most determined, that's when you put a song in.